We are Buckmore. We are Wisconsin.
Home sweet home back at Miller Park, Milwaukee, and interleague baseball tonight at Miller Park. The Oakland Athletics are here for the first time since 1997. The Brewers and the A's start a three-game series tonight. It's the first time these two teams have matched up since 2002 at a new arrival to Milwaukee. One of the top minor league prospects, Scooter Gennett, second baseman, left-handed hitter. He will make his major league debut at some point. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us. Got a little interleague baseball for you tonight. The Oakland A's just 2 games back of the Texas Rangers, the second most wins in the American League. But the news today is the fact that the Brewers made some serious transactions coming off the road from Philadelphia and coming here to Miller Park.
Yeah, a couple of guys no longer with the organization. Mike Fiers got sent down. Alex Gonzalez released. Both of these guys really not living up what the Brewers had expected of them. Scooter Gennett, a big prospect down in the minor leagues, his 4th season in the organization, a 300 hitter. Juan Francisco, a guy that started with Cincinnati. He's got potential to have a big season. Scooter Gennett, a guy that everybody has been talking about for quite some time. We've seen him a bunch of times in spring training. He's a grinder up the plate. He's going to be in a strict platoon with Ricky Weeks over at second base. So you bring him up, you've got to play him, and that's what Ron Renicky plans on doing.
Well, the Brewers have Marco Estrada on the mound here tonight. He's been the most consistent starter the Brewers have had. 3 of his last 4 starts have gone at least 7 innings. When we come back, Craig and Davey will break down Marco as we roll on towards first pitch.
Home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota, let's go places. Back here at beautiful Miller Park, Brewers opening up a 7-game homestand interleague play back at the home yard against the Oakland A's. David Craig back on board as you hear on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Marco Estrada on the hill tonight for Milwaukee. Consistent as far as logging innings for this team, Davey, but as far as starts go, he's really looking at putting successful starts together, and would like no better than start tonight.
That's right, and he's had some trouble here at home. He's got a 7.18 ERA here at Miller Park, as opposed to on the road where he's 3.4. But the thing about it, what he has to do is get out early and with his command and stay out of trouble early, and he really cruises from then on. Yeah, last 4 starts, you see the numbers. You like the strikeouts, 20, and only 5 walks given up for Marco Estrada. Keep that control going. Athletics, Brewers, interleague play, first pitch between these two clubs. It's been a while. Being Rock here to take you the rest of the way.
Tonight, 63 degrees outside Miller Park. They have closed up the panels and the roof as Marco Estrada leads the Brewers out onto the field. Starts a nice little homestand for Milwaukee. The Oakland A's for 3. Then the Philadelphia Phillies come in. That'll take you through the weekend. The Brewers are in a stretch of 20 in a row and 33 games in 34 days right now. Well, the Brewers hosting the A's for the first time in Milwaukee since they were in the American League. And 3 things you need to know about Bob Melvin's Oakland Athletics. They are second in the American League West behind the Rangers, but the 34 wins, the second most victories in the American League. They've won 14 of their last 16 games. Their star player this year has been Josh Donaldson. And Rock, they feature the best bullpen ERA in the American League. They're tough to beat when you get down going into those late innings.
And the former Brewer Grant Balfour has been outstanding. 11 for 11 so far this year, and he hasn't blown a save since midway through last year.
Bob Melvin, former Brewer scout. He's been an instructor. He's been a coach. And now he's the head man for the Athletics. His Piggly Wiggly batting order is Crisp, Jaso, and Cespedes, Jed Lowry, Josh Donaldson, and Josh Reddick in the middle with Brandon Moss, Eric Sogard, and Tommy Malone. And you see between the switch hitters and the left-handers, there's going to be a ton of batters on the left side of the box against Marco Estrada.
And Marco snapped a personal 2-game winning streak. He took a loss against the Twins in Minneapolis. He pitched pretty well, although he did give up a 3-run first inning. A couple of 2-out hits in the first. And the Twins had a 3-0 lead. The Menards Brewers defense for tonight. No changes. Braun Gomez, Aoki in the outfield. Ramirez gets another start at third. Segura, Weeks, Betancourt, and Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate once again. Your Menards Brewers defense.
Well, Marco Estrada, start number 12. You see the numbers overall. He has gone at least 7 innings in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's been able to give the Brewers some length, and that, of course, has been a nemesis for the Brewers starting rotation this year, featuring that great changeup. And his first career appearance against the Oakland Athletics. Jerry Lane will call the balls and strikes. Greg Gibson, Hunter Wendelstedt, and Alan Porter, the base umpires tonight. Well, the stage is set. We're ready for baseball tonight. Homestand begins, and the Oakland A's in town. Coco Crisp, their leadoff hitter. One of 2 switch hitters in the A's lineup. And Oakland also featuring 5 left-handed hitters, so 7 of the 9 batters will be off that left side of the box against Marco Estrada. And his first pitch of the ball game is on the way, and it is in there for a strike. Very enthusiastically called by Jerry Lane.
Well, after the first inning in that start against the Twins, Marco working very quickly, doing a nice job. He did give up a home run in that start.
And Coco Crisp spins that one deep to right field, and there it goes. And that's the way a lot of games have been starting for the Brewers, with the opposition on the board as Crisp goes deep. His 6th home run of the year, and it's 1-0 after the first batter of the game.
Yeah, pitch up in his eyes. We just got done talking about Marco gave up a home run his last start, but he'd only allowed 2 home runs in the entire month of May. He did a very good job limiting the home runs in 5 May starts, but that fastball up in the eyes of Coco Crisp, and he knocks it out of here. So the A's with an early lead. Brewers have been playing from behind quite a bit.
Now the home run ball has plagued Marco all season. He had been pitching through some tough early season struggles with the home runs. He actually had only given up 2 in the month of May, but he has now allowed 13 home runs this season. He's making his 12th start.
And it's time for the league lead with Matt Cain.
No balls and 2 strikes on John Jaso. Jaso getting the call behind the plate tonight, as Coco Crisp belts his 2nd leadoff home run of the season. That's a 10th of his career. When you think about leadoff home runs, there's only one Oakland Athletic player that comes to mind, and that's Ricky Henderson.
Yeah. Had a ton of them. Man, Crisp had a nice season for Oakland. 284 and getting on base quite a bit.
Jaso right off the end of the bat, and Ricky Weeks will make the play for out number 1. Now, this is a stat you don't want to lead the league in, and Estrada right there with Matt Cain, which is a shock that he is on this list, especially pitching half of his games in San Francisco.
Well, he started very poorly, did Matt Cain. I mean, he hasn't been giving them up lately, but he had 13 home runs very quickly this year.
And Dan Herron pitches in a pitcher-friendly ballpark as well in Washington, D.C. So 1 away for Yoenis Cespedes. One of the bright stars, not only for the A's, but one of the bright young stars in all of baseball. Defected from Cuba, got a major league deal, and was an impact player for Oakland last season. He's had 9 home runs for the Athletics. Has 29 runs batted in.
He's made some incredible catches in the outfield this year, so very athletic, although he doesn't steal a whole lot.
Lifts that one in the air to the left. Back is Braun, and he'll have room for this one for out number 2. Oakland got off to a great start this year. They were 12-4 to begin the season, but then they went into a long slide. They were 6-15 through the next 21 games, just 6 wins. Bob Melvin's club has dominated their new division opponent, much like the Brewers have in years past, the Houston Astros. The A's are 9-0 against Houston. So 9 of their 34 wins have come against the Astros. Astros just coming off a sweep of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, the Angels have struggled against the Astros, and well, those are the teams that you have to beat, when you're going to, chase a division title. Oakland 10 games over 500.
Yep, and they are sitting just behind the Texas Rangers in the American League West. Last year they won that division over the Rangers, and it took a sweep over the Rangers in the final 3 games of the season to secure that division.
Yeah, very deliberate, the windup for Marco Estrada. Takes his time, he gets to the top and then fires towards home plate. That classic delivery right over the top, and his changeup sometimes will have a little bit of a sink to it when he stays on top.
As the former Astro, Jed Lowry draws the walk. Well, you figure the changeup is going to be a big pitch for Estrada here today with so many left-handed batters up there. One thing the A's do well is draw the walks. They lead the major leagues in walks as an offense. That walk by Jed Lowry, number 242 for the season, in game number 59 of the season.
Yeah, the A's are 11th in batting average, but 2nd in on base percentage. They do draw a lot of walks.
So that'll bring up Josh Donaldson, who has been a breakout player for the Athletics this year. He has been their best player, frankly. A .319 average. He has 8 home runs, 34 driven in. Donaldson performing like an all-star. Had a huge month of May. Hit 6 of his 8 home runs in the month of May.
Yeah, certainly not a lot of household names on this Oakland A's ball club, but they play as a team and they put good at bats together, and they have a tremendous bullpen. Starting pitching has been up and down this year.
See Donaldson at the top of the list for runs batted in for Oakland, just ahead of Cespedes. That ball's hit in the air to left. Braun going back, and he'll have room for this one. Some deep fly ball outs and a home run to start. Coco Crisp puts the A's on the board. The Brewers coming up. Over 2 weeks, and he has put the A's on the board first tonight. A leadoff home run in the top of the first inning. Now the Brewers coming up. Ron Roenicke in his 3rd season as the Brewers skipper, and some changes, some transactions today, trying to get this ball club jump started. His Piggly Wiggly batting order today: Aoki, Segura, and Braun at the top. Ramirez, Lucroy, and Gomez in the middle with Ricky Weeks, Uni Betancourt, and Marco Estrada rounding it out.
Well, it's been an interesting season so far for Tommy Milone. He started 3-0, lost 5 in a row, and now has won 2 straight. Second season with Oakland. 2012, he was 13-10 with a 374 earned run average and 31 starts.
Milone facing Nori Aoki. Be the only left-hander in the starting lineup today. The Brewers brought up Scooter Gennett. We talked about him in our open, and because the left-handed starter is on the mound, Gennett will be a bench player today, probably just as well. Doing a lot of interviews, and when you are a top flight prospect like Scooter Gennett, probably good for him to settle in for a day and just soak it all up. And he was kind enough to join us for our Brewers Live pregame show. We appreciate Scooter doing that.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it, but I would imagine he'd like to get that first at bat, that first game under his belt.
1-2 to Aoki, who slaps one into left field, and it's going to be run down by Cespedes.
Well, the Menards Athletics defense down near the bottom of the American League in team defense. They've turned 44 double plays. Cespedes, Crisp, and Reddick, Donaldson, Lowry, Sogard, and Moss, and John Jaso behind home plate.
Cespedes, an outstanding outfielder. He's got a great arm. They talk about 5-tool players in baseball, and he's one of those. Here's Gene Segura. Speaking of 5 tools, Segura, day off yesterday, did make a pinch hit appearance and had a ground out as the Brewers were trying to fight their way back against the Phillies. Eric Sogard sporting the specs, going old school there. Segura bounces one to Lowry, who makes the play. 4 out, number 2. 2 quick outs.
Yeah, some guys just don't like the contact lenses. And those are sweet. Eric Sogard.
All he's missing is a pocket square. I like the look.
Looks very cerebral, doesn't he?
I mean, you see ball players wear the specs, you know, like the sport specs glasses. Those are just your standard old glasses.
They look like reading glasses, right?
Yeah. It's a good look. Here's
Works for
Ryan
him.
Braun now. Takes a strike from Tommy Milone. Now Braun comes in batting .301. 9 home runs, 35 driven in. He is still a home run shy of a milestone homer in Brewers franchise history. He's one away from joining Jeff Jenkins for 3rd all time. Braun currently 4th all time in only his 7th year with the Brewers. And he rips out one to 3rd. Donaldson, an excellent third baseman, makes the play, and a close play at first. And out is the call by Greg Gibson. That was bang bang at first base, and a 9-pitch inning for Tommy Milone. You make the call here. Close one. Got him.
And come out to Miller Park as your Brewers host the Philadelphia Phillies on Thursday through Sunday. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com.
That'll be a 4-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and the rotation is set now with Peralta, Figueroa, Estrada, and then Loesch against the Fightin' Phils. First 3 games of this homestand against the Swingin' A's, bringing all the nicknames back.
Atta baby.
And the bearded one, Josh Reddick, leading off this second inning. That beard's actually pretty tame from where it started this season. Reddick, who was such a breakout player for him last year, he came over to the A's in a deal with the Boston Red Sox. And he has been a struggling hitter this year. He's hitting just .165. This is a guy who hit third most of the season last season. And today is in the 6th spot in the batting order. Just 1 homer, 16 runs batted in. Got jammed, and a fly ball out to Aoki for out number 1. We've got a couple of fly ball pitchers here today, Rock, and Marco Estrada and Tommy Malone.
Yeah, fly ball pitchers in home run ballparks.
Let's check our Carsoup.com email the booth question. Irene in Waukesha wants to know, how much has the Moneyball theory of baseball changed the game? Moneyball, based on a story. It's a movie now. You know, it was a story first. It was a true story. It's not just a movie. But Billy Beane, the general manager of the A's, and talking about this philosophy of on-base percentage, and A's aren't a big market team that can afford to go sign big free agents. And I'm not sure it's so prevalent these days with the Billy Beane led Oakland Athletics. There's still an element to it, but it really brought the statistical analysis to another level that most teams incorporate nowadays.
And developing players and bringing players to the big leagues with on-base percentage was much more important than a lot of the statistics. Getting on base, working counts, and I think that has stuck around. And as a result, I think it's changed quite a bit how pitchers and how deep pitchers can get into ball games. Pitch counts rise, and that was part of Billy Ball, getting starters out of the game early. And it certainly changed the game. It did in the beginning, and I think it still has a lasting impact.
3 balls and a strike on Brandon Moss, and that one's hit high and deep to right center. Back is Gomez, and he's at the wall. He leaps, and that ball's gone. 2 innings, 2 home runs for the Oakland Athletics, and Moss hits his 8th of the year.
Well, it's always been the Achilles heel of Marco Estrada, allowing the home runs. He's not a guy that's going to allow teams to get 3-4 hits in an inning, and once in a while that's going to happen, but he might walk a guy and then give up a home run. That one just out of the reach of Gomez out in center field. And that's what happens when you have a fairly straight fastball. You rely on a fastball that's up in the strike zone. And Gomez gave it a good effort, but out of his reach.
And an all too familiar start for the Milwaukee Brewers. It is incredible how this game has happened on what seems like every night for Milwaukee. Starters come out, give up early leads, and the Brewers have to play comeback. Yesterday it was a 7-0 deficit after 2 innings against Cliff Lee of the Phillies. The Brewers did mount a great comeback. They actually had the winning run at the plate yesterday and came up short. 8th consecutive game where the Brewers pitchers have given up at least 1 home run. Eric Sogard with 1 away, batting in the 8th spot of the order, and down he goes on strikes. And with the deep counts and a lot of walks, you also see a lot of called strike threes, a lot of backwards Ks with this Oakland ball club.
And there's that 4-seam fastball right on the outside corner, and Marco gets the call. Lucroy didn't even have to move the glove.
2 outs in the inning. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Tommy Milone. He's had some at-bats this year. He's 0 for 3. He's had an interleague series in San Francisco in one of Malone's starts, and he came up with the Nationals, so batting is not completely foreign to him. In his career, he has 2 hits and 14 at-bats. He actually hit a home run on the first pitch that he ever saw as a batter in the big leagues. Segura winds it up, got it stuck in his glove for a moment, but makes a play to end the inning. 2-0 A's. Crisp and Moss with homers.
Nothing as we head to the bottom of the second, but get ready, fans, for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, and that is coming August 17th, Brian.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Good to have Sophia back with us as we return to Miller Park, starting the 7-game homestand. Brandon Moss been getting most of the load over at first base with Reddick off to a slow start, and Moss delivers yet another home run, the former Pirate. His 8th of the season, makes it 2-0 Oakland as we head to the bottom of the second. Aramis Ramirez will lead off. He'll be followed by Lucroy and then Gomez. Now, the Brewers made a trade today. We talked about the transactions, calling up of Scooter Gennett, also the trade that will bring Juan Francisco to Milwaukee beginning tomorrow. And part of the reason Francisco becomes a desirable option is because Aramis Ramirez and the fact that he's coming back from this knee injury, and he does not look like a guy who's going to be able to play 3 or 4 days in a row. I mean, he's probably going to need an off season to get that injury to heal. So Francisco is a third baseman by trade. He can also play first. Gives you some coverage there, and Rocky has as much power as any player in the big leagues. He's been an enigma, though.
Yeah, we've seen him as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, he could be streaky, but when he gets a hold of one, look out. He can hit him a long way, and certainly a guy that if he starts getting some playing time might be able to help this team offensively.
Broken bat over to third base, and Donaldson takes care of Ramirez for out number 1.
I think everybody is very anxious to see Scooter Gennett. He's going to play in a platoon with Ricky Weeks, and I know that he is very anxious to get in there. And you get called up, and certainly don't want to sit around too long. And Ron Renneke has plans on starting him tomorrow against the right-hander.
Check our charter high-speed pitch at this point. Malone at 88, Marco Estrada at 90. Either one of these guys will light up the radar gun, but both can be very effective. Here's Jonathan Lucroy. Well, what a series he is coming off in Philadelphia. Lucroy, 8 hits and 13 at-bats against the Phillies. Had 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in. Hit half of his homers in a 3-game series in Philadelphia after not homering since April 20th. Had 2 on Friday and then looked like he had one yesterday. Looked like he had a grand slam yesterday, but it was only a triple as he hits that one high in the air, shallow left center, and Crisp will run it down for out number 2. Take a look at our Lowe's home improvement. Never stop improving. And that's the stat over the last 11 games for Jonathan Lucroy. He's really turned his season around offensively. It's been a grind for him until this last road trip.
And starting to square up and taking it up the middle into the opposite field. 2 of his 3 home runs in Philly came to left field. And we're really seeing the baseball well right now.
2 outs for Carlos Gomez.
And it really wasn't a case where Lucroy was completely lost at the plate, just timing a little bit off and rolling over on some pitches that ordinarily he'd be driving into right field. But right now he's staying back and hitting it where it's pitched. So we saw him do just about all of last year.
Something that Carlos Gomez has been doing all year as well. And those American leaguers who knew him when he was a Twin, this is a different Carlos Gomez these days. It started in the second half of last year. And Gomez just continues to swing the bat well. Had a couple of hits against Cliff Lee yesterday. As a matter of fact, it was his hit that chased Cliff Lee in the 8th inning that opened the door a little bit for Milwaukee.
And it's not often you're going to be able to put the tying run on base when you have a deficit of 7-0 with Cliff Lee on the mound. But that's what the Brewers were able to do last night or yesterday in Philly. Nice comeback, but just came up a little short.
Yeah, too much of a hole early as Gomez strikes out. Tommy Malone took a little off, and he has retired the first 6.
And the Brewers starting a 7-game homestand, so we get a chance to catch up with the team's chief operating officer, Rick Schlesinger. Now, Rick, it's going to be a busy homestand. Saturday is going to be a fan favorite, Cerveceros Day, in conjunction with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. What activities do the team have planned?
Well, of course, it's always a big day, and we'll have a good crowd. And Cerveceros is Brewers in Spanish, and we're going to have a lot of mariachi bands. The Hispanic Chamber is going to have their big tailgate, which is several thousand people in the parking lots. We're going to have bilingual PA announcements, other kind of fun things. And again, it's a great signature event. I think this is our 7th year we've done it. Sunday is Carlos Gomez bobblehead day, so always fun and great to see Carlos. He'll be wearing the Cerveceros jersey and his bobblehead, and we know the bobbleheads are very popular with the fans. So we've got some great ticket promotions and great reasons to come out to Miller Park this weekend.
Have you gotten a chance to look at that Carlos Gomez bobblehead? Are we celebrating his offense or his defense?
Well, it's a little bit of his offense, but you could do one bobblehead for his defense and one bobblehead for his offense. He's obviously a two-way player and great player. So maybe next year we'll do Carlos as a different figurine or something like that.
Well, he has been that good to maybe deserve 2 bobbleheads. But Brewers fans still have time to get the Ultimate Fan Sweepstakes. Tell us more about that. There's a lot of prizes for Brewers fans to take home.
If you want a game-worn Bob Uecker jersey, Bob Uecker sweater, we've got Giovanni Gallardo's game-worn jersey from opening day. We've got your own bobblehead. We got a chance to sight on the slide. So great prizes for $1. The more times you enter, the more chances to win. So that's through June 11th, and all proceeds go to Brewers Community Foundation, our charitable arm.
All right. Thank you so much, Rick, for the time. And again, Brian, Brewers fans can sign up for that Ultimate Fan Experience Sweepstakes. Brewers.com/Ultimate Sweeps.
All right. Sounds good. And I think we should throw in the game-worn Argyle socks, the gold toes that Bill Schroeder wore on the last road trip twice.
The ones that haven't been washed yet?
Right, the repurposed.
Yeah, that'd be a nice prize.
3-1 the count to Coco Crisp as he takes a strike 3-2. You're not wearing them tonight, are you?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I have to wear them. Yeah, I only have 3 pairs of socks.
Those are his lucky socks.
Now, why do you want to go there? You know that I don't do that.
No. Yeah, I know that.
You know that. I have had partners that have done that. I actually had a partner that.
That's a fair ball for Crisp. He's thinking about 2. He's on his way. Aoki comes up late as Crisp speeds his way to a double. Boy, can he run.
Yes, he can, and he can hit too. At top of the order. That's what you want, a guy to get on base. And Marco Estrada having a tough time with Crisp. A fastball and a 3-1 pitch. And he's able to actually a 3-2 pitch, and he whistles it down the right field line for a double. I'll tell you, Nori Aoki with a very strong, accurate throwing arm, and Crisp able to beat it.
So Crisp with a leadoff double here in the 3rd inning. Marco Estrada has given up 3 hits, 2 homers and a double, and he faces John Jaso.
Yep, just inside that first baseline, and a leadoff double. So the A's in business again in the 3rd inning.
Did you not want to libel your former partner?
Yeah, I changed my mind. I think that I'd rather just move on.
You got awfully quiet.
Yeah.
So we'll never know.
It had something to do with washing clothes between road trips. One of them didn't do it a couple of times.
Just keep the suitcase packed.
Right, just leave it in the car. Middle of August. Oh boy.
A 1 hopper to Segura. And he makes a play to first. Good base running there by Crisp. Ball was hit hard. Crisp has enough speed to try to advance, but you know it's all about knowing where the defender is.
You gotta be aware of your surroundings, and Crisp realizing that ball hit so hard that he would have been an easy out at 3rd base. Got to look around. You got to see where guys are playing.
And we bring that up because we were just talking about this the other day in Philadelphia, that so many major league base runners don't do that, and Crisp did. Froze on the line drive first of all, and then he doesn't try to make something that's not there. You know, typically when a ball's hit behind you, if it's a ground ball behind you as a base runner, your instincts are to go to 3rd base. But in that case, it's a line drive. He knows where Segura's playing.
Yeah, same thing right now. If one's hit right at Ricky Weeks on a line, you know, 1 hopper. I mean, if he takes off to 3rd base, Weeks is going to be able to throw him out of 3rd.
Well, the Brewers do a lot of shifting, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on the base runners, maybe as much as anything else, to know where guys are. And you can see Crisp every time he goes back to the bag. He's looking around. He's trying to see where these guys are. And that's good fundamentals. One gone, 2-0 the count on Cespedes. And there's a fastball strike right on the outside corner. Two balls and one strike.
Not much you're going to do with that. I mean, that's a nice fastball and a 2-0 count that gets him right back in it. Right on that outside corner. Perfect.
Had him out in front. He fouls it away. 2-2 on Cespedes. I talked to Yuni Betancourt earlier today about Cespedes, and of course they're both from Cuba. Yuni's a little bit older. He said he never played with him. He didn't know him or his family at all, but he has since connected with Cespedes. Obviously that's a pretty tight circle, the Cuban baseball players, and the stories that they can share defecting from Cuba. That is a big risk for these guys. And there's a bouncing ball, and Segura lays out. Weeks has it, no throw anywhere, but he keeps it in the infield, which keeps Crisp at third base
and keeps that double play alive. And not only does the run not score, but now Marco has an opportunity to get out of this inning with a double play. Segura went hard after that baseball. Not that he would have had a play on Cespedes. Check it out. He had a long way to go up the middle. Even had he got it, what he was trying to do was keep it in the infield to keep the run from scoring. Ricky Weeks going a long way to keep it in the infield.
And Cespedes still a little shaken up at the shortstop position. Crisp was ready to make the turn and go home until Weeks made that play. We'll keep an eye on Segura. So one out, and here's Jed Lowrie. He's picking up Lowrie late in February from the Houston Astros. He's sending two players to the Astros, including Chris Carter, who's been in their starting lineup.
And not a guy that when you look at him and throughout his career, not somebody you would think of as a cleanup hitter. He's hitting over 300 and he's only got 3 home runs, but you look at that on base percentage and it's almost at 400, so he's done a nice job of getting on base.
Lowrie, a switch hitter, started his career in Boston, had a ton of injuries while coming up with the Red Sox, traded to Houston, and then sent from Houston to Oakland. Basically, the Astros took any player of any value and tried to acquire prospects or multiple players in return. That's been their theme. And even Lowrie, who, when all of the trades were made prior to his trade, was the highest paid Houston Astro. A very slim payroll. And Lowrie is at the shortstop position tonight, but he's played a little second base as well. The A's have Adam Rosales, who can play short. He was at short yesterday. Probably trends better as a second baseman eventually, but Lowrie, he's a good player. He's a good hitter. And as Rock mentioned, he's kept his on base percentage in the upper 300s. Two and two the count, and a bouncing ball. Betancourt coming to the plate, and they're going to have Crisp in a rundown, which is no easy task, and Lucroy will tag him out. So Betancourt took the out at the plate. He might have had a shot to start a double play, which would have ended the inning.
Well, he got the sure out. He knew that the Brewers couldn't fall behind by 3 runs, and ordinarily first base was going to spin around and make a throw to second base, but Lowrie runs pretty well, and as opposed to allowing the run to score and getting just 1 out, Betancourt does the safe thing and gets the out at home plate. Not a bad decision.
And now Jonathan Lucroy can forever say that he ran down Coco Crisp with his equipment on, which is what he did.
If you have any kind of indecision, I mean, you want to take that out at home plate, and I think Betancourt did the right thing right there.
Yeah. Inexperienced first baseman Betancourt, playing there for the first time in his career this season. But it does keep the inning alive for one of the A's best hitters this season, Josh Donaldson. Let's take a look at our Felco All-Star voting update. Shows you the first returns on the American League. Josh Donaldson not on this list, but he is certainly playing like an all-star right now. You got Trout, Andrew Jones, a Gold Glover, Torrey Hunter, Cabrera, Elvis Andrus, Robinson Cano, and Chris Davis, who leads all big leaguers in homers. Joe Mauer is the leading vote getter behind the plate, and Big Papi David Ortiz as the designated hitter. So we're starting to get the results now, and it'll be fun to track that. Ryan Braun's always been one of the top vote getters.
About a month ago.
National League results, I believe, will come out tomorrow. Bouncing ball up the middle. Weeks knocks it down and will not have a play anywhere. And another seeing eye base hit in this inning. That's the second infield hit for the Athletics and the third hit of the inning.
Now Marco with a changeup, but Donaldson able to wait back and hit it hard up the middle. The shift helping Milwaukee once again and saving them a run for the time being. That ball gets into center field. A run scores. So a lot of activity on the bases in this third inning, but the A's have yet to plate a run.
Well, the bases loaded. 2 outs in the inning, and here is Josh Reddick. Well, what becomes a key hitter early in a game for Marco Estrada. He's given up 2 home runs, a solo shot to Crisp in the first. Brandon Moss a solo homer in the second. Ooh, had a big cut. Reddick down 0-2. He took a rip.
Back-to-back fastballs.
A struggling hitter at the plate. Estrada trying to take advantage. And the 0-2 is fouled away. Reddick did most of his damage last year in the first half. He scuffled at the plate in the second half, but was a big part of their division championship club. He's a great defender. Reddick came off the disabled list on Friday against the White Sox. Oakland swept the White Sox in the 3-game series. Reddick actually had a walk-off walk over the weekend, including an RBI double. One ball, 2 strikes. And he got him. Foul tip into the mid of Lucroy. Marco Estrada strands the bases loaded. So a big moment early for Estrada. It's still 2-0 A's.
2-0, and it has been a long time since the A's were here in Milwaukee, making their first trip ever here to Miller Park and first trip to Milwaukee since 1997. So on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're getting reacquainted with the A's, taking a look back, asking Brewers fans which player do you most associate with the A's. Man of Steel, Ricky Henderson. How about closer Dennis Eckersley, Vita Blue, our own Raleigh Fingers, and also the Bash Brothers, that duo of Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco. And in our preliminary AT&T Twitter poll, BA and Rock, I heard we had some mixed results on who you guys picked as your players.
Yeah, that's a good list right there. As Weeks on the first pitch pops out for the first out. And yeah, I mean, you think about the Oakland A's. I think Ricky Henderson is the guy that comes to mind first. Right. For me, I am the greatest of all time, he said. But Raleigh Fingers, those are some great images.
Back in my day when I was playing, I mean, McGwire and Canseco, those were the two guys that kind of dominated, the late 80s, early 90s for the Oakland A's. And you see a rather slender Mark McGwire back in those days, back in the early days for McGwire.
That's what he looks like now. And a slender Canseco. There's a Canseco fan, but the Bash Brothers, and you were in that division with the Oakland Athletics when you played in Anaheim.
Yeah, back in those days, they were winning 100-plus games, 2-3 years in a row. Tony La Russa led Oakland A's. Carney Lansford, they had a pretty good pitching staff.
Walt Weiss, now managing the Colorado Rockies. And Dennis Eckersley, of course, you think about the great A's years when they were a dominant team in the late 80s. And you think about the Yankees of the mid to late 90s and having Mariano Rivera, but that was Dennis Eckersley for the Oakland A's in the 80s. It was locked down.
Yeah, he unhittable most of the time.
The Hall of Famer, Dennis Eckersley. Now 2 quick outs for Tommy Milone. He's retired 8 in a row. Facing Marco Estrada here in the 3rd inning.
It's really been fastball changeup for Milone. He's thrown a couple of curveballs, but not many. He'll throw a cutter. Very similar to the way Cliff Lee went about his business yesterday.
And Marco Estrada flares one to right field. That will be a base hit, the first of the night. And that's why we call him the secret weapon. Marco keeps hitting. That's about how he gets him right there. A little jam shot.
Fastball up and in, and got in on his hands and ate him up inside, but able to fight it off. You saw Brandon Moss, the first baseman, playing in. And the Brewers on the board in the hit column.
And Marco with his 5th hit of the season. 5 for 19 on the year. Second time through now. Back to the top of the order in Nori Aoki. And Aoki sends that one deep to right. Back is Reddick at the wall. He's got it for the out. Nori just missed it. Long, loud out, and the inning is over. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Cool images just outside of downtown Milwaukee. We're at Miller Park, the A's and the Brewers.
Hey, enter the Ultimate Brewers Fan Sweepstakes by making a donation to the Brewers Community Foundation. You could win a Bob Uecker game-worn sweater plus a meet and greet with Uecker, a trip down Bernie's Slide, and more. Visit Brewers.com/ultimate sweeps for details.
That game-worn sweater is getting a lot of play tonight.
Yeah. I would imagine that's been dry cleaned, though.
Yeah.
Knowing you.
I think so. I think he was actually inside the sweater when it was dry cleaned. Ueck's been dry cleaned. A young A's fan, young Brewers fan, they're punching their all-star ballots. You can vote as many times as you like when you punch the ballots. If you like to vote online, you can do it up to 35 times per email account. And the all-star voting is underway. Have the National League update for you tomorrow on the top vote getters. Marco Estrada is back on the mound. Just got out of a big mess in the third inning, stranding the bases loaded. Not often do you give up 3 hits in an inning and come out of it with a 0.
And a leadoff double to boot.
So Estrada will face Brandon Moss, who hit a 1-out home run in the second inning. Got a home run to right center. Brock, you remember Moss with the Pirates? He was just a guy that they had high hopes for. He just could not get going at the big league level with Pittsburgh. But like so many of the Oakland players, he has found new life with the Athletics.
A change of scenery, right? It's worked for a number of players, and certainly his day with the Pirates. Not what he expected, but starting to come into his own with this organization. Not a big batting average, but I'll tell you, he's flexing his muscles at the plate. 8 home runs, and when you consider that ballpark that they play in Oakland, that's not an easy ballpark to hit home runs, particularly at night.
Ball and 2 strikes on Moss, and he hits that one into center field. Right there is Gomez. A lot of fly ball outs for Marco Estrada tonight. Well, even when the game isn't on, you can still see all the plays and at-bats that matter most during Brewers squeeze play. And you can catch the action Wednesday from the Brewers and the A's. Brewers squeeze play at Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Wisconsin. So we're not televising Wednesday, but we'll have the squeeze play for you in prime time. One gone for Eric Sogard, a strikeout victim in the second inning. Sogard hitting .266. Not much of a power threat down at the bottom of that A's order. Anytime an American League team comes to a National League park, it does change what that American League manager likes to do with his lineup. Sogard moves into the 8th spot, and of course the pitcher is batting 9th. You don't have that designated hitter. As Sogard rips that one into right field, Aoki looks up. That ball is fair, and it is a double. So a ground rule double down in the corner, hidden from our view, but Sogard giving that one a charge, almost hit one out of here.
Yeah, a little bit down on the end of the bat. I think it was an off-speed pitch by Marco just inside the right field line and bounces out of play. And no chance for Aoki, and probably a good thing that ball bounced out. That Sogard probably would have been at third base.
So a 7th double. He has 1 triple and no homers. But he's at second for the pitcher Malone. See if Bob Melvin has him bunt here, and a pickoff play. Last time the Brewers worked a pickoff at second base, it went for an out. And that much talked about play and pickoff in Philadelphia as they got Kyle Kendrick. The phantom pickoff. The sleight of hand. Bouncing ball, Segura right there. And he'll make the play for the out, and that does advance the runner to third base. 2 outs now. Back to the top of the order. Coco Crisp coming up. Has 2 hits tonight. Certainly one of the great characters of the game, and one you define as an Oakland Athletic. Came up with the Indians, had some time with Boston, a year with the Royals, and now in his 4th season with the Oakland Athletics. Great base stealer. Has a stolen base title, a regular season stolen base title in the American League on his register. Had 49 bags in 2011. Backed that up with 39 stolen bases last year.
Yeah, doing exactly what you need to do as a leadoff hitter. On base percentage almost 400. So the A's have 2 hitters in the top of their batting order that have an on base percentage near 400. He and Jed Lowry.
Crisp's on base percentage much higher this year, a little over 60 points higher than his career on base percentage. It's always been the knock on him prior to this season. The fact that he could get on base, but he's a true leadoff man. He had a great stretch of stealing bases. Second half of 2011 on into the first half of 2012. He stole 36 consecutive bases. The 2-1. And that one's in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You can see that Marco Estrada doesn't want to mess around inside on Coco Crisp after he hit a ball out of the ballpark first inning. Hit a double to right, so everything away right now.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Estrada deals, and a fastball swung on, missed. He fooled him. Tied him up with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and a strikeout for Estrada, his 3rd. Back-to-back scoreless innings. Brewers down 2-0. Well, on June 23rd, Brewers bullpen catcher Marcus Hanel will be hosting his annual Coups for Kids event at the Milwaukee County Zoo. The event will feature a silent auction and special appearances by Brewers players, coaches, and the famous Clements Racing Sausages. Limited tickets are available. Purchase yours today at koosforkids.com. That's KOOS for kids.com.
That's a nice event, and Marcus is able to get just about every one of the Brewers out to that event, and coaches. A who's who amongst Brewers will be there.
Yeah, Marcus does a great job, he and his wife Jill, with that event. Long-standing Coos for Kids. They've raised a lot of money, and they've done a lot of good, originating out of the Racine area. Speaking of the Racine area, good to welcome back Glen Kuiper.
Yep, talked to him today.
Yeah, Glen's the television voice of the Oakland Athletics, part of the traveling Kuipers. His brother Jeff and Dwayne with the San Francisco Giants. Dwayne, the play-by-play announcer. Jeff is the producer of the Giants. And Glen works across the bay, and he's from Racine. And he's got a whole booth full of Racine Kringles up there waiting for him today.
Yeah, I saw him on the elevator. He was asking me how to get to the press box, and I said, give me one of those Kringles and I'll show you.
Segura bounces one over to short, and Lowry will make the play for out number one.
Of course, he didn't give me a Kringle, but I showed him anyhow. This is the kind of guys we are here in the Midwest.
That's right. They've never been here, never been to Miller Park. Actually, Glen, he's been here. He actually came as a fan once. And he was telling me a story today about when he was a kid growing up in Racine, or just outside Sturtevant, actually. He said they used to come to County Stadium as a kid, and I didn't know this, and you may know this, Rock, but in the middle of the season, he said it was 1970 or 71, he couldn't remember, but in the middle of the regular Major League season, when the Brewers were first here, they played an exhibition game against the Atlanta Braves in the middle of the season.
Right.
And
that's rough.
He said they packed the house to see Hank Aaron, and of course the Braves had left as Braun goes into right center field. That ball's well hit, but Crisp will run it down. Tough to squeeze anything in the alleys with that guy.
Why would you think I would remember that? Do you think I was here playing in 1970?
No, but you've been around for a while. I thought maybe you might have told that story or not, but there's not a lot of people that know that they played exhibition games in the middle of the season.
I remember when I was playing, the Brewers played an exhibition game in the middle of the season down in Beloit. The Benoit Snappers back in those days, and on an off day, the Brewers took buses down there and played at the A-ball facility.
How about that?
You don't see that much anymore.
Here's Aramis Ramirez. Yeah, Glen was interested to know about the Braves Hall of Honor that is here, and I was asking him about his memories of County Stadium, and he said he used to come watch his brother all the time when Dwayne was playing second base in the big leagues and coming to Milwaukee.
You know, if you close your eyes and all three of them standing there, you wouldn't even be able to tell them apart.
Right.
They all sound the same.
They do. They do. They do. Now, the Kuipers are good people, and they've got a great family. We see them when they come to town, and we're glad to have them here. And say hello to all of the Kuipers and the relatives that are in the ballpark. Pulling for the Brewers, I'm sure. Glen Kuiper works with Ray Fosse.
Did you shake hands with Ray Fosse today?
He'll bring you to your knees. No doubt.
Those are some big myths, aren't they?
Just the images of that All-Star game when Pete Rose crashed into Ray Fosse.
Yeah, that's a shame of Ray Fosse. Everybody thinks about that when they think of Ray, but he was one heck of a catcher. And one of the best.
Oh, Ramirez. Fair ball to left field line, thinking about two. He's on his way. And the doubles machine, Aramis Ramirez with a double. A two-out double here in the fourth inning.
Yeah, got him an off-speed pitch on a 3-2 count. Ramirez was able to wait back and hit it hard. Took a hop on Donaldson at third base. Ramirez can do that as well as anybody. He can hook that pitch away and hit it very hard.
able to stay back, get that barrel hit out in front, and a 2-out double.
Had a day off yesterday, Ramirez. He did make a pinch hit appearance. Ramirez drew a walk and scored a run in yesterday's game. Seemed refreshed today during batting practice after the day off, and he responds with a double, number 10. So here's Lucroy now, the Brewers' hottest hitter. Get a 2-0 Oakland lead. Lucroy flew out to center field his last time up. Tommy Milone's only given up 2 hits tonight. Estrada single, and now Ramirez is double, the first runner to scoring position for the Brew Crew so far. Tommy Milone has been about as tough as it gets when runners are in scoring position. Opponents hitting just 188 against him. Only Felix Hernandez of the Mariners has a better opponent batting average. That one's backhanded by Donaldson. Nice play and a good throw, and the side is retired. So Milone keeps it up, working on a 2-hit shutout.
Top of the 5th, we check in with the Brewers farm system in our minor league report. Scooter Gennett was called up, and yesterday his teammate Zach Kroenke suffered a tough luck loss. He went 7 strong innings, giving up just 8 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, all that on 96 pitches. Unfortunately, the Sounds went down 3-2 to the Express, but BA Blake Lally hit his 5th home run of the season for Nashville.
Yeah, Blake Lally getting some playing time, and good to see him getting the bat going in. He and Chris Davis. And Brewers are pulling up from the AAA ranks today with Scooter Gennett coming to the big leagues. By the way, a couple of minor league players and pitchers of the month announced. Ariel Pena, who came over in that Zach Greinke deal, was the minor league pitcher of the month for the month of May. Well, he and Johnny Hellwig are pitching well, coming over with Segura in that trade for Greinke last year. Ariel Pena was 4-1 in the month with a 1.11 earned run average. That's getting it done. And Hunter Morris was the AAA minor league player of the month for the Brewers. He had 6 home runs in the month of May. He's playing first base.
Yeah, he's swinging it. Had a rough spring training for the Brewers this year. Of course, only his first spring training, maybe a little bit nervous. And not able to settle in, but boy, that guy can hit.
Jaso takes a strike from Estrada. It goes to 1-2. I was talking to Scooter Gennett about some of those guys, and Josh Prince getting playing time now. And he said Hunter Morris had a great month. Little did he know that he would be the player of the month in the Brewer system.
That season goes by and he continues to hit. Wouldn't be surprised to see Hunter Morris here at some point. And you don't want to rush him up here, though. I think the Brewers saw what he did in spring training and wanted to make sure they brought him along slowly. Give him an opportunity to settle in AAA, have a nice season, and maybe have a chance to win a job next year.
We saw Scooter talking to Garth Orge. He'll be attached at the hip to the Brewers infield coach, Garth Orge. And I'll give Garth a lot of credit. He said way back when in 2010, just a year after Gennett was drafted, that he thinks the Brewers have found a young hitter who's got a chance to make it to the big leagues and have a chance to be an impact hitter up here. And here he is as Jaso singles back up the middle. And it's a leadoff base runner for the A's.
Well, he's got a nice approach to Scooter Gennett. I mean, you talk about you don't want to compare him to Aoki because they have such different hitting styles, but he'll give you an at bat like Aoki will. He's not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He'll work the count, take the ball to the opposite field, and he'll make a pitcher work to get you out. They call those grinders.
Garth is a terrific infield instructor, and he has had a big role in Scooter Gennett's upbringing through the minor leagues. Until Garth was a major league coach, he was the minor league roving infield instructor, and has always loved the way Gennett swings the bat. He's not a big guy, but he has a great stroke, and Garth Orge has been a fan of his hitting for a long time. Said he's never been overmatched, which is saying a lot. He was drafted and signed out of high school. And we've seen a lot of him, Rocco, in the last couple of spring trainings. This was Scooter during batting practice today, getting his feet wet back at Miller Park.
Well, again, he's going to hit the ball where it's pitched. He's going to make contact. He's not going to strike out a whole lot. And defensively, he's got pretty good range.
Ball and a strike, and in the dirt. Jaso takes off and will make it without a throw. It'll be a wild pitch.
Lucroy a bit surprised that he took off. He kept it in front of him, but had it in his glove. Wasn't sure. I guess he had it a little bit off balance, and by that time a little bit too late to make a throw.
Jaso, a catcher himself, knowing how hard it is to get up and make a throw from that position. So he's now in scoring position with nobody out. Cespedes at the plate. Bouncing ball to third. Segura got a play at third. No, he'll take the play at first, and no time. Cespedes runs too well.
He can run too.
And the indecision cost him there.
He thought about third base. I think that might have been his best option, but his momentum going toward first would have been an awkward throw, and that'll be a base hit, you would think. A little chopper, and perhaps the throw to third base might have been the way to go, and took a little too long to get rid of it. Well, you'd love to see a guy running hard like that. Cespedes beats it by half a step.
Third infield hit for the Athletics. Cespedes a threat to steal second as well. First and third, nobody out for Jed Lowry. Not your prototypical cleanup hitter, but he acts like one here. That is way back. Aoki at the wall. It's off the wall. Coming in to score, Jaso. Cespedes will stop at third, and that's an RBI double for Jed Lowry. And it's 3-0 A's.
Man, it didn't miss by much. Aoki tried to get back there, but just couldn't do it. Not in time. Yeah. Aoki plays very deep out there in right field. Actually, Jed Lowry looked like he had it a little bit out in front. And kind of an interesting angle on that baseball did Aoki take on it. Didn't go straight back. He kind of took a jog to his left. And Lau with good speed, able to get into second base with an RBI double.
Now it looks like Marco Estrada has injured himself. Athletic trainer Dan Wright is out to talk with him.
And kind of the way he goes after that baseball and jumping up into the wall, and the baseball goes to Gomez very nicely, and a good strong throw into second base. But kind of an interesting route by Aoki to get to that ball against the wall.
It looks like Estrada is trying to talk his way in, but Dan Wright is shaking his head no. And Ron Roenicke talking to Jerry Lane. Well, the Brewers they cannot get any length out of their starting pitching, and now it looks like a possible injury here. Let's see if we can find something. After the pitch to Lowry, something grabbed him there as he is clutching his left leg. He's had hamstring problems in the past, and he is headed out of this game. And the Brewers just continue to be snake bit. Right there above the knee, lower hamstring. Very similar spot to Jim Henderson. Well, that's not good. Giving up 3 straight hits in the 5th. And we're going to have an injury delay here as Donovan Hand will get as much time as he needs to get loose. And Roenicke making the call to the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. We'll set up the new pitcher when we come back.
Ron Roenicke, Jerry Lane having a chat, and reminder, this Saturday is Cerveceros Day at Miller Park as the Brewers host the Philadelphia Phillies at 6:15 p.m. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
I've got an injury delay here as Bert Badenhop was the man that Roenicke wanted to come in. Donovan Hand was getting up. He thought he would be the selection, but you start to look ahead of how the next inning will shape up. The pitcher spot due up 4th. Obviously, the Brewers might be hinging on the moment of the game right now. The A's have a 3-0 lead, and runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. So Badenhop essentially trying to close the 5th inning and then turn it over to Donovan Hand. Gives us a chance to look at our Ho-Chunk Gaming text question tonight. What will be the role for Scooter Gennett and Juan Francisco? Laura in Milwaukee is wanting to know.
Now Scooter Gennett's going to platoon at second base with Ricky Weeks, so his role is pretty well defined. Now Juan Francisco is going to show up tomorrow. Will play a lot of first base and spell Aramis Ramirez at 3rd.
And be a big power threat off the bench for the Brewers, and basically coverage for Aramis Ramirez in case the left knee continues to give him trouble. He's going to be an interesting guy to watch, Francisco. I mean, he's 25 years of age. He's hit a bunch of home runs. He has great tools. Dusty Baker and the Reds thought he'd be their third baseman of the future. But there was some question about his work ethic and his approach at the plate, always wanting to hit the long ball. And he was traded to Atlanta to provide coverage for Chipper Jones last year. And he did okay for the Atlanta Braves and actually got some playing time this season, but they DFA'd him, designated for assignment, after a game on the 29th of May. So it's been 5 days since Francisco has played, and he's scheduled to arrive in Milwaukee tomorrow. He will be on the active roster tomorrow. These are the numbers with the Braves this year in 35 games. He hit 5 home runs in those 35 games and 16 RBIs. And most of his playing time came at third base or as a pinch hitter.
And Brewers are trying to get some offense out of that first base spot. That is typically supposed to be a big offensive-minded spot on your team. Matter of fact, the corner spots, your first base, third base, left field, right field. You'd like to get big offense, particularly home runs out of that spot. The Brewers so far this year have not done that, and it provides Ron Renneke another left-handed bat as an option.
Well, the delay here is Baden Hopp gets all the time he needs to get loose. And incidentally, if you're wondering, you have to warm up on the game mound when you're in an injury situation like this. I'm sure most pitchers would like to warm up in the comfort and safety of the bullpen, but that's not how it works.
A lot of times, you got to be careful of this. Sometimes a reliever will say he's ready a lot sooner than he normally would when he's warming up in the bullpen. Just because all eyes are on him, everybody's waiting for him to get ready, and you got to make sure you're ready to go.
Might have gone into the decision for Baden Hopp as opposed to Hand as well. All right, so here we go. Second and third, nobody out. 3-0 A's, and Baden Hopp's first hitter is Josh Donaldson. Now the Brewers starting pitchers just continue to struggle posting innings. They average just 5.5 innings per start. And Estrada is out with an injury today in the 5th inning. 4+ for Estrada, 4 + 3 batters, gives up 9 hits. And at this point, 3 runs.
And the Brewers have their infield in, figuring they can't fall behind any further. Opening up some big holes for Donaldson.
A lot of speed on the bases. Cespedes at third, Lowry at second. And Donaldson takes a strike. 1-2 the count. Baden Hopp, a sinker ball specialist, a ground ball pitcher. You normally see Baden Hopp come into a situation where a double play is in order. One-two pitch, and it's in the dirt. Lucroy has it squib behind him. Cespedes thought about it.
Lucroy going a long way in that left-hander's batter's box to keep that one close. And the way he squares those shoulders, it sneaks through his legs just a little bit, but able to find it.
Well, that one got a piece of his forearm. You can see the rise already on that forearm. 2-2 the count. Donaldson whistles one past Betancourt, base hit. In to score Cespedes. And that's all the A's will get here. Sensing a big inning. Mike Gallegos, the third base coach, holds up Lowry, and now it's 4-0, and the A's have 10 hits already.
It took Lowry forever to get a jump off of second base. I thought for sure he was going to be able to score on that. Cespedes took off right away, but for whatever reason, I don't know why, but Lowry took his time to head toward third base. This ball was hit like a rocket, a sinker up in the zone. Pretty much down the middle and down the line in right, but Jed Lowry not able to score.
A's are making it look easy. 4 straight hits. 2 runs are in. Still nobody out. And runners at first and third for Josh Reddick. And the runner goes. Lucroy's throw to second base on the money, and out is the call. Donaldson thrown out. Lowry stays put. And the Brewers get their first out of the inning on a caught stealing.
And Jonathan Lucroy has been throwing out a number of base runners lately. A good pitch to throw on, a very quick release. Look at the footwork as you take a look at the base hit. Here's the footwork for Lucroy. It all starts with the feet, being quick with the feet. Get yourself in position to throw and stay on top. Good throw.
And a swing and a miss by Reddick. Reddick is 0 for 2. He struck out with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. Infield in. Reddick fouls this one away, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. And barking at himself at home plate. A struggling hitter.
That's what happens. You start talking to yourself, missing pitches that you feel as though you should be driving somewhere, but you don't want to let him see a sweat up there in the batter's box. You got to make everybody think you know exactly what you're doing. But obviously frustrated.
Between Reddick and Burke Badenhop, there's a lot of personal conversations going.
A lot of walking around.
The 1-2. I mean, he's no Mark Fidricks out there, but he's close. Badenhop, especially when he gets an out. Way inside, almost hit him.
And push him off the plate and then go back out there. He's not talking to himself and going down on his knees and brushing off the pitching rubber. Need more guys like the Bird.
I like that. Carlos Gomez has a little Birdman in him. And there's a base hit. And that'll bring in another run. Well, too good of a pitch with 2 strikes, and Reddick turned it around quickly. 5 hits in a row. Brewers still do not have an out at the plate. The out came on a caught stealing.
Man, see where that sinker is, right down the middle and upstairs, and even the struggling Reddick able to hit that one hard. Not much range when you're playing shallow, when you're in on the grass. And this one in jeopardy of getting out of hand here. Well, the Brewers were down 7-0 yesterday. Able to fight their way back. They've been doing a lot of that. Trying to come back after big deficits early.
Too much to overcome on most days. And it's night after night. It's the same game. Well, those runs will belong to Marco Estrada. So he'll finish with 4 plus 5 earned runs. And you can close the book on Estrada's night tonight. Leaves with an injury. Still waiting word on the injury. Lower left leg just above the knee. Or lower left hamstring, I should say, above the knee. Brewers might be dipping into their system once again for a starting pitcher. They just sent Mike Fiers out.
Well, he could come back. You know, you can come back, you know, before you serve your 10 days down in the minor leagues in the event of an injury. And we'll see what they do. Let's not put the cart before the horse, though. See what's wrong with Estrada. Hopefully it's not serious.
He's got a run on the first. Solo homer by Crisp. Brandon Moss hit a solo homer in the second. And he's up with a runner at first and 1 out. And a bouncing ball to Betancourt. His only out is at first. Badenhop is there for him. So out number 2. Moss goes 3-1, and on the play Reddick advances to second base.
I'm not sure what the conversation is between Betancourt and the first base umpire, but they're nose to nose. Not sure what it was.
Seems friendly enough.
Yeah, it looks friendly. They're both smiling.
Greg Gibson.
I'm not sure if either one of them knows what the other one's saying.
Right. Uni probably said, where would you throw it? Second or first?
I mean, they were nose to nose there for a minute. It never did look like it was heated, but it's kind of an interesting exchange.
Badenhop's going to walk the 8th place hitter.
And you say, all right, whatever you say.
See. Actually, I got to give Betancourt a lot of credit. He took English lessons this offseason while playing in Mexico. He wanted to get a better grasp of the language. He felt like that's what really hurt him in Kansas City last year. Couldn't communicate well, and I'll never forget that story when Betancourt was traded with Zach Greinke to the Brewers, calling on some reports about the 2 players that the Brewers had acquired, and an unnamed source said it's very likely that those 2 players who were teammates never spoke to each other. Betancourt didn't speak any English, and Greinke didn't speak, period,
to anybody.
Had to introduce themselves in the Brewers clubhouse.
I believe it.
Oh yeah, we played together in Kansas City, remember? It's like that classic Rickey Henderson story, speaking of the A's, when he was traded to the Mets, and he said, you know, he saw John Olerud, who was the first baseman of the Blue Jays, and he was wearing a helmet while he played first base, and he goes, you know, I used to play with a guy who wore a helmet at first base.
In Toronto. Yeah.
In Toronto.
Yeah, it was me.
Little flare, and Malone's going to drop a base hit in. And this will bring in another run. And it's now 6-0 A's. Even the A's pitcher gets into the act. The swinging A's living up to their nickname tonight. Man, how many big innings has this club given up this year?
5 hits now against the Brewers with runners in scoring position in this inning alone. Putting the bat on the baseball, they've struck out 3 times. Been able to put the bat on the ball in this inning pretty well.
That's Malone's 3rd career hit and his 6th career RBI. Came up with the Nationals. 4 runs are in at 6-0. The A's have 12 hits. And here's Coco Crisp, the 9th batter of the inning. Marco Estrada left with an injury, a leg injury, after giving up 3 hits to start the inning. 6 hits and a walk in this frame. Two outs, and Crisp takes a strike on the inside corner. Coco Crisp has a home run and a double tonight. Struck out with a runner at second in the 4th. He's got a little modified Joe Morgan hitch in his left elbow.
Yeah, just making sure that elbow is in a position where he's comfortable. That's why Joe Morgan did it. Make sure that elbow's up. That's the way he likes to start. You rock the elbow instead of the hands. You want to keep those hands still. You want to have some type of movement as the ball gets to home plate. Some type of triggering mechanism.
Three-two pitch, runners go, and Crisp draws the walk. And the inning continues. Bases loaded. And Rick Kranitz on his way out to the mound. 10th batter of the inning coming up. Another troublesome inning for Brewer pitching. Bullpen's been outstanding. It's been the starters that have typically given up the big innings. Badenhop coming in an emergency tonight has surrendered 3 hits and 2 walks, and one of the runs in the inning, his earned run.
That bullpen had a terrific month of May. Just continued to get outs and eat up a lot of innings. And over the last 25 games, the Brewers relief corps, a 196 earned run average. That covers 101 innings. Lowered their earned run average from 4.16 to 2.99 in that stretch. That's some pretty good pitching.
And the shocking part of that is the 101 innings in 25 games. I mean, you can do the math on that. You're having to pick up 4+ innings a game from your bullpen. That gives you an idea of where the Brewers starting pitching has been. So the fear is that's been a strength of the Brewers. And over usage is now becoming a reality as you get into June. Brewers cut their relief corps by 1 today with the addition of Jeanette and Juan Francisco. So instead of carrying an 8-man bullpen, they have gone to a 7-man pen. Jaso off the end of the bat. That's going to fall. And 1 run is in. Malone will score. It's a 2 RBI single. And it's 8-0 Oakland. So Jaso with his second hit driving in a pair.
Yeah, a lot of pitches upstairs by Burke Badenhop in this inning. Check it out. Doesn't look like a change up, and not necessarily up, but out over the plate. Jaso doing a nice job staying on it. And a flare off the end of the bat, driving in 2 runs. There you see it right off the end of the bat. Not a bad pitch. Wasn't up. But just sometimes you get innings where anything you swing at ends up falling in.
Eight to nothing Athletics. Here is Cespedes, who has 2 infield hits tonight. A's have 13 hits. This is a red hot ball club. They've won 14 of their last 16 games. Coming off a sweep of the Chicago White Sox, and they didn't have a whole lot of offense in that 3-game series. They scored just 9 runs in the 3 games, and yet they won all 3. They beat Chris Sale yesterday. One and 2 to Cespedes, 11th hitter of the inning. Burke Badenhop into uncharted territory here as he just delivered his 34th pitch of the inning.
Man, Ron Renege wants to get him through this inning because the pitcher spot is due up 4th.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And Cespedes strikes out. That will mercifully retire the side. 11 batters come to the plate. The A's score 6. And they lead it 8-0.
Jerry Nairn trying to figure it out as the Athletics have an 8-0 lead as we head to the Brewers half of the 5th inning. And tonight's Tavern of the game winner, Pat's Tavern in Rhinelander. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, Pat's gets 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and our good friends at Miller Lite.
Well, the Athletics put a 6th spot on the board in the top of the 5th inning, and now the Brewers find themselves in a familiar position, playing not just catch up but big catch up. Yesterday it was a 7-0 deficit. Brewers got within 2. We'll see if they can get some offense going here against Malone, who has been very good so far, working on a 2-hitter. Malone chipping in with an RBI single in the top of this 5th.
That had to be a half-hour inning, didn't it, for Tommy Malone?
I stopped counting after 20 minutes.
He sat there a long time, although he was running around the bases, getting hits. It's been a while since he's been out on that mound.
See if the Brewers can take advantage on a cool night, and Gomez pulls it foul in the seats. Gomez might be a key figure in the Juan Francisco deal. He's friends with Juan. He knows him from back home in the Dominican Republic, and he's looking forward to his arrival here tomorrow.
It's always good to know somebody when you're traded to a new team. That familiarity. Wouldn't be surprised to see Francisco and Gomez next to each other in the clubhouse. Perhaps a long layoff and not being out there for a while. Command issues, pitches everywhere.
Full count to Gomez. You can just take a look at Gomez's bat, and it gives you an idea what kind of hitter he's been. You got a bat with that many marks, that tells you he's not breaking many bats. And he's got a lot right there on the sweet spot, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
3-2 pitch, and Gomez into shallow center. Chris got a late break, and that ball is going to fall in front of Reddick. I think Reddick sensed that Chris had no chance, and that's going to be a bloop single.
Right. Well, why do you play that deep with an 8-0 lead? I don't know, but I'll tell you, Reddick went in hard into the turf out there into the outfield, and there's that 2-seam fastball up in the strike zone. Gomez gets jammed. That ball is way up in the air. Surprising that nobody got there. Now watch Reddick. Bang. Look at his arm. Look at his leg. That left leg. Wow. Lucky he didn't get hurt.
Stuck it in the turf instead of sliding on through. That's the area of the field where the stage was for the Kenny Chesney concert, and it is a little softer out there. That could have been an injury for Reddick easily. Let's take another look here as Reddick, who's very fast, comes flying across the outfield. And
knee first, and then you see that foot hyperextending that left leg.
Yeah, he's fortunate. Come through that one okay.
Yeah, more importantly, the Brewers have a base runner. Since he's okay.
Since he's all right.
We can focus on the hit.
And Gomez is first. And just a third of the game as Ricky Weeks sends one way back in left field. There it goes. A 2-run home run for Ricky Weeks. And the Brewers are finally on the board. It's now 8-2 Milwaukee.
Well, Ricky waits back nicely on an off-speed pitch at 81 miles an hour. And he kept those hands back, and he just nice sweet swing down and through, and second deck out there.
Powerball home run count.
That was
number 4.
Yep, change up, and Ricky waits back on it. Watch the hands stay back for Weeks. Quick through the strike zone, and Brewers on the board.
Well, when we were looking at the schedule here this spring, this looked like a series between the Brewers and the A's that would pit the Weeks brothers in the same series. And Jemile, Ricky's younger brother, is in AAA with Oakland. That ball's hit hard to center field. Crisp on the run, and he'll flag it down. Man, can he close some ground?
No, he's deep. I mean, he's playing very deep out there in center. Couldn't get to that ball in front of him, but check out how quick the hands are for Ricky Weeks. And Malone gave him one up and in, an off-speed pitch, and hit it out there into the Friday's picnic area.
Last home run came against the Pirates in Pittsburgh on the 15th of May. Ricky with his 4th of the year. Here's Jeff Bianchi, pinch hitting. Pinch hitting for Badenhop. And Donovan Hand will be next on the mound.
And now you know why Ron Renicky let Badenhop out there. He didn't want to go to another pitcher and didn't have to pinch hit for him.
Bianchi on the road trip made a number of starts. He started 4 of 5. He was either at third base or second base. Was 5 for 20 on the road trip. And he chases one in the dirt. Down it goes. Noah's
foul ball.
Foul tip. Yep, he got a piece of it, says Jerry Lane. And he'll live to see another pitch. Brewers have 4 hits, 2 in this inning off Tommy Malone. And Bianchi down in the count 1 and 2. Looked like Lane with something in his eye on that foul ball. And down he goes. Malone goes with the high heat. Bianchi down on strikes. That is the 2nd strikeout for Tommy Malone. 2nd out of the inning. Check our Subway box score. Back-to-back hits from Gomez and Weeks, and the home run by Ricky putting Milwaukee on the board for the first time tonight.
The only thing missing is the base hit by Marco. Those with 4 hits, and Ricky with that 2-run homer.
Here's Nori Aoki now. Well, the Brewers have shown some fight. They've been in some big holes, and they've been able to come back quite a bit. Just haven't been able to push over. As Aoki flies out to center field to end the inning. Ricky Weeks breaks the shutout. Got a change up, and he did not miss it. 2-run home run for Weeks, and it's 8-2 Athletics. Ricky Weeks responds with a 2-run home run in the bottom half. And we go to the 6th inning at Miller Park, Milwaukee. Well, Larry Drew was introduced as the Milwaukee Bucks' new head coach this morning. You can get complete coverage and reaction from Andrew Grumman at FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Also tweeting at FS Wisconsin. And Larry Drew saying he wants a team that the city can be proud of, and he's got a lot of work ahead of him. But he's a hard-nosed guy, and hopefully the Bucks are going to be able to turn it around. Now, postseason appearance this year, knocked out by the Heat. And a new coach and a new philosophy in place. And we're going to have Larry Drew on our air tomorrow on the Brewers Live pregame. So it'll be fun to meet the new head coach, as Donovan Hand will take over for Milwaukee, and probably a guy that can give you a couple innings, I would imagine.
He made his major league debut on May 26th against the Pirates right here at Miller Park. Last pitched on Thursday at Minnesota. 2 1/3 innings, gave up a couple of runs, but he did strike out 3.
Oakland with 11 batters in the 5th inning, scoring 6 runs on 6 hits and 2 walks. So Hand trying to restore some order here as Jed Lowry lashes one foul. Lowry had a big hit in that inning. He doubled and drove in a run in the 5th. And that was the last batter that Marco Estrada faced. We're still awaiting a report on Estrada from the Brewers clubhouse. Nothing reported just yet. Donovan Hand, one of the call-ups from AAA Nashville. He was the last man cut out of spring training. It was between he and Alfredo Figueroa to make the team. Figueroa ended up making the team. Both were non-roster invitees. And when Hand left after the exhibition game, he was told that he's done enough. He's made an impression. Go to AAA, put up the numbers, and he'd have a great chance to be one of the first call-ups. And he was.
Yeah, the Brewers elected to go with the velocity of Figueroa, 96, 97 with a fastball, and Donovan Hand, a sinker baller. He throws that 2-seamer, sinks as it gets to home plate, and he's got a pretty good curveball to go with it.
Full count to Jed Lowry. Was it just me, or the A's very comfortable at the plate? I mean, they're getting some big swings.
Yeah, they're making contact, and it's a team that does strike out a fair amount. 11th most strikeouts in, actually 11th in the league, yeah, in strikeouts.
Lowry whistles one back up the middle for a base hit.
11 out of 15, and that's a kind of an unusual combination. A team that leads all the baseball in walks also strikes out a lot.
Lowry on with his 2nd hit. He's got 2 hits and a walk.
You know, check out the location of all these hits that the A's have been able to come up with. Pitches up in the strike zone. That's not where you want to leave a sinker, up there, up around the belt, and Lowry able to hit it hard in the center.
14 hits for Oakland now. And it'll be Josh Donaldson with a runner at first. Another leadoff base runner for Oakland. Strike on the corner. Hand is appearing in just his 4th game. He started the year AAA Nashville, enduring 7 minor league seasons before earning the call up to the big leagues. Had a 3.18 ERA in Nashville this year in 16 games. And pitching in a multi-inning role, in a middle relief role in Nashville. He pitched in 16 games and he logged nearly 30 innings in Nashville.
How many middle relievers in the minor leagues end up getting called up to the big leagues? It's usually starters and closers, right?
I was just going to ask you that. You know, if you're stuck in middle relief in the minor leagues, that used to be like the last stop before heading for the exits.
Right. Yeah. Interesting, right?
But the Brewers saw a lot out of Hand this spring. The fact that he could throw strikes, he could give multiple innings.
Maybe grooming him for what the Brewers want him to do, right? Couple innings here, couple innings there, and I guess it's paid off. Here he is.
Well, Alfredo Figueroa has moved into the starting rotation for Milwaukee, and so you got to have that long man, and Hand is that guy right now. That can be a key role. That can be a saving role for a bullpen. Figueroa certainly helped that cause yesterday, going 3+ innings in that 7-0 deficit to the Phillies. Got a chance to turn it here. Segura to Weeks. Double play. 6-4-3 double play wipes out the leadoff single.
Man, that's what you want out of Donovan Hand, that good sinker, get that ground ball, get the double play, and that's what happens when you keep that baseball down.
So 2 outs and Josh Reddick. First ball swinging foul, just missed the bag at first. Little help with the baseball. Nori Aoki will take care of it. Thataway, give it to the kid. Never be afraid to do the right thing.
Right. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost anything, right? Pay it forward, right?
Even in an 8-2 game. Never know.
Give it to a kid, and maybe the kid's dad will buy you a beverage.
Right. Or ask you for another one. Down the left field line, Braun giving chase, and he can't get there. That's a fair ball. And Reddick is into second with a double. Reddick made contact. I'm not sure he knew where that ball was. I think he thought he fouled it off.
Either that or he thought he was going to slice foul, but it didn't. Ryan Braun goes toward that line extremely well, just not able to get there, misses it by maybe 6 inches, and Reddick with back-to-back base hits.
So Reddick getting his bat jump started tonight. 2 hits. And here's Brandon Moss. Boy, what a relentless attack the A's are on tonight. 8 runs on 15 hits. Not only have the first 6 hitters in the lineup posted a hit, the first 6 hitters in the lineup all have 2 hits tonight for the A's. And every hitter in the lineup has at least a base hit, including the pitcher Tommy Milone, who had an RBI single last inning.
Just one of those nights. Unfortunately, the Brewers have had a number of those nights lately. It's all about location, though. It has nothing to do with velocity or, pitch calling. It's about where you're putting the baseball.
The ball skips away from Lucroy, and Reddick will advance to third. Well, that is not a pretty sight if you're a Brewer pitcher.
Especially when you're only in the 6th inning.
Wow. 15 hits. Home runs by Crisp and Moss. Oakland traveled from Oakland after yesterday's victory over the White Sox. Bouncing ball over to second base. Weeks will put him away to retire the side. And a scoreless inning for Donovan Hand. Gives up a couple of hits. Brewers coming up. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Man, Ricky Weeks, 2-run home run. Well, our home run leaderboard brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery. Last season's, check that, the Brewers' current home run leaders, with Carlos Gomez leading the way with 10 home runs. Ryan Braun with 9. Gomez one of 3 players in the big league still with double-digit home runs and stolen bases. Mike Trout and Carlos Gonzalez the other. Never too late for a sausage race. Had a good one tonight. I mean, the guys are fresh.
Well rested
on the road. Yeah,
well rested. 5 days off. Nice. And ordinarily the Italian dominates.
Italian, he does not. He has a finishing kick.
He dominates with long rest. He really does.
He's one of those.
I've noticed that over the years.
It's one of those sausages that, you know, it's like Ryan Braun. You give him a day off, and he comes back with 3 or 4 hits the next day.
Yeah. Now tomorrow the Italian
suspect
going to be lagging a bit.
Yep. I'm going to go with a brat for tomorrow, I think. You know who's been a sad situation this year is the hot dog.
Has he?
He's had 1 win all year.
Really?
The hot dog.
Really?
And that's pathetic.
Wow. Surprising.
Showing very little effort. His confidence is down. His casing is all soggy. What are other bad things that happen to hot dogs? Because I ran out right there.
Yeah,
that was it.
Look at that. Look at the Italian. I mean, just cruising to victory.
Hot dog nowhere to be found.
Right, he's way in the back.
Come on, hot dog.
There he is. Where's Chorizo?
It's a little cool out for Chorizo. Ryan Braun with 1 out. Tommy Malone has given up 4 hits and 2 runs thus far. Braun is 0 for 2. He flew out to deep center his last time up. And a home run drought for Ryan Braun, at least by his standards. Hasn't homered since the 22nd of May, which was here at Miller Park against the Dodgers. Bouncing ball to third. Donaldson, low throw, dug out by Moss. And 2 men are out here in the 6th inning. Sophia coming in with a racing sausage fact.
Well, I think Chorizo has to save his best effort for the weekend for Cerveceros Day and then follow it up with a win on Sunday. So I think for Gomez bobblehead day. So Chorizo really needs to save it for the weekend.
Look at Sophia hanging out with the marketing department.
Yeah,
bringing it full circle.
Right. Do you think he's just kind of waiting and saving his energy? That's what he's doing.
Pretty good bet for Cerveceros Day. The 5th and final addition to the sausage race. Ramos Ramirez at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Last time the Oakland A's were at Miller Park, there were just 4 of them. Sausages, that is. As a matter of fact, they've never been to Miller Park. Last time they were in Milwaukee.
Right.
When the Brewers were in the American League.
County Stadium.
Fly ball to right. And Tommy Malone, speaking of the rocking chair, back in it. 3 up and 3 down. Head to the 7th. The Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. A time-lapse camera rock. Beautifully done, very artistic. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? 6:30 airtime tomorrow for Brewers Live. Kyle Loesch and A.J. Griffin will match up. Griffin, the right-hander. 5-4 on the season. Probably see Scooter Gennett in the starting lineup tomorrow against the right-handed pitcher. We head to the 7th. Mr. Hand back on the mound. And Eric Sogard leading off for Oakland. A 6-run 5th inning as the A's on top 8-2. Now the Brewers continue to suffer from the big inning this year. The Brewers have allowed 5 or more runs in an inning on 8 occasions this season. That's 3rd most in the big leagues. The Astros have 10. The Giants have 9. The Giants pitching staff it's been shocking, right, to see what's going on there in San Francisco. Betancourt backhands it, shovels over to Hand for the out, and 1 gone. So the Brewers putting themselves in early holes. Obviously, a lot of this is from the starting pitching core. Most times allowing 6 or more runs in an inning. The Brewers have done that 4 times this year. It was a 6-run 5th tonight.
And the San Francisco Giants have a team earned run average at 4.21. I mean, that's unheard of.
Makes no sense
with that group.
Matt Cain allowed 7 runs in an inning to the Cardinals over the weekend.
Right. Well, Madison Bumgarner, you got Zito over there, and Lincecum. Those guys, they've had a rough time of it.
Oakland trying to steal some of the headlines from the reigning world champion Giants in the Bay Area. They played better baseball. San Francisco, despite the terrible pitching numbers, especially for that pitching staff, they're hanging in there in the West. They're still 3 games over 500, just 2.5 back in the Diamondbacks, as Tommy Milone collects his 2nd hit. So even the pitcher with a multi-hit game tonight.
A pitcher that never hits. Yuniesky Betancourt, it's not that easy. 2 hits.
16 hits for Oakland. Their season high, if you're wondering, and I'm sure you were just thinking, I wonder what the Oakland A's season high for hits is. But it's 18. They did it against the Astros on the 25th of May. Let them get it out of their system, right?
And the Brewers only down by 6. I mean, the Brewers were able to come back yesterday, and a couple of men on, somebody hits one, and they're right back in it. All that damage, all those hits, but the Brewers still in striking distance. They got to get something going quickly, though.
Imperative that Donovan Hand continues to put up the zeros. Tommy Milone, I guess the bad boy thought he wanted a jacket. He's come sprinting across the field. Chris steps out. Donovan Hand steps off the mound.
Must have been one of the coaches told him to go give him his jacket because he had it on the last time he was on base.
Yeah, he did. He's lucky he didn't get tackled.
How do you shush the guy away? Just grab the jacket, put it on, right?
Right. Give it to the first base
Make
coach.
him look good. He's showing him up.
He's just a boy.
It's like when I went out the first time and wanted to have a talk with Vukovich out on the mound.
He showed you up.
He just shushed me. He'd get back there.
Did you make it all the way to the mound?
No, halfway.
Chris with a base hit to right. And his 3rd hit of the game. 1st and 2nd with 1 out. I mean, this bad boy, he runs across the field. He could have walked right into a pitch.
That's like me right there. You know, going to talk with the Vuk. Just
about face.
Straight trade and say, get behind home plate. I'll pitch.
Everybody's yelling at him on the way back.
Yeah.
Earlier in the game, they asked him to go find the keys to the left-handed batter's box.
They do that in the minor leagues. I don't think that the big league bat boys, they
don't fall for
they
that.
don't play that game.
What are some other ones, Rod?
Get a bucket of steam. You get the baseballs out. Says, do you have a dozen curveballs here?
I love the bucket of steam.
Keys to the batter's box is always a good one.
Oh.
Fun at the expense of the young kids. Just trying to make a living, right?
Yep. That's all part of it. There's a bouncing ball that's going to find a hole. It gets through, and they will hold Milone. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. As John Jaso comes up with his 3rd hit. What's the best practical joke that you can think of and that you can share on the air with us from your playing days?
Well, there was a time, back at County Stadium, Charlie Moore, he, I guess he had a rough night the night before. We had a day game at County Stadium, and we took batting practice. We were taking BP. Charlie kind of sneaked away into the bullpen to kind of, rest a little bit, and there was a bathroom that in the in the bullpen, and he kind of snuck in there and took a little snooze. I think it was Jamie Easterly. I think it was took the rope from the flagpole because the door opened in, right? So he tied the rope from the flagpole around the handle real tight. So midway through batting practice, all you could see was the flagpole waving back and forth. Charlie trying to get out. That was outstanding. And it went on for like 10 minutes. And it was hot in there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of ventilation.
That's a good one. That's kind of an ad lib, a spontaneous practical joke. The opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, those are
somebody
the best
took
ones,
advantage.
right? Those are the best.
But the premeditated jokes tends to be a lot of thought process. Cespedes bounces to third, flip to second for one, and Weeks throws it off the dugout, and this is going to bring in 2 runs. Actually hits inside the dugout, so everybody will advance. The runs will score anyway, but Cespedes, I believe, will be awarded second base. Indeed. And it's 10-2.
Yep, 2 more runs in. Ricky Weeks trying to be a little bit too quick, airmails it, and umpire saying that it went into the camera well and out.
Be an error on Weeks. Brewers did get an out at second base, the second out. 10-2 now, 18 hits for Oakland. And Lowry bounces 2 Weeks, and that will retire the side. More Bill Schroeder stories when we continue. 10-2 Athletics.
And the Swingin' A's haven't been to Milwaukee since 1997, but they wasted no time making themselves comfortable here in their first trip to Miller Park. So tonight in our AT&T Twitter poll, we asked Brewers fans to take a look back at A's history, weighing in on which player you most associate with the A's. 35% of fans went with the Bash brothers, Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, and Hall of Fame closer Dennis Eckersley, got 19% of the vote. And Rock, we're going to let you do a little bit of bragging because you had some success against him, hitting 2 for 6 with a double and an RBI. What do you remember from those outings against that great closer?
I remember a lot of strikeouts, Sophie. I don't remember those 2 hits. I really don't. I mean, that guy was very intimidating, a great slider, and sunk the fastball in the hands. And I honestly don't remember 2 hits off of Eck. but I'll take them.
Sure.
But Canseco and McGuire back in their young days, I tell you, they revolutionized Bay Area baseball. Those guys were something else.
The Bash brothers, Carney Lansford, Walt Weiss,
Dwayne Murphy out there in center field. You had Dave Kingman on the team for a little while, and
Terry Steinbeck behind the plate.
Yep. And before that, Ron Hassey. Ron Hassey was out there for a little bit, and Steinbach. They had some pretty good pitching too.
Yep. Sure did.
Dave Stewart, Joaquin Andahar,
Bob Welch.
Yep.
Lucroy sends that one to left. It is hooking foul. Well, the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. Never before has a catcher with full equipment on run down Coco Crisp like Jonathan Lucroy. Fetched him. At least that's what he's going to tell his teammates tomorrow. That's not an easy guy to run down.
No.
The fact that he was running backwards for the first part of that gives you an idea that he thought he probably had it made. Lucroy's sneaky athletic. He's not super fast, but he's very quick.
They did the right thing, ran him back, and if he had to, he'd just make a flip over to Segura to get the out, but didn't need to. Those are the best rundowns when you only take one throw.
That was a 3-2 putout. And Lucroy chases a breaking ball. Down he goes on strikes. They secure it at first. So Tommy Milone, he's got a nice lead, and he's pitching well.
Hasn't walked anybody, and he's got 3 strikeouts.
Making a bid at his 6th win of the season. His victories this year have come against the Giants, which was his last start. He beat the Royals. Started the year by winning his first 3 decisions: the Mariners, the Angels, and the Astros. Here's Gomez now. Hard hit ground ball in the hole. Jed Lowry with a long throw and dug out by Moss. Wow, great play on both ends to get the speedy Carlos Gomez.
And Moss has been pretty good over there. That's the second in between hop that he's been able to pick for an out. Jed Lowry got rid of that baseball very quickly. Knew he had to be fast with it. Didn't get much on it. And look at the pick, and in betweener by Brandon Moss, and he comes up with it cleanly.
Moss thought it was the 3rd out. He was ready to head for the dugout. Oh, great pick. That was a tough hop to handle at first base.
They just got a little snow cone at the end of the glove.
Got a nice story for the Oakland Athletics. Brandon Moss. Malone's got a chance to finish this one today. See the pitch count by inning for Malone. As Weeks sends another one deep to left field. Back is Cespedes, and it's off the top of the wall and in play or not. That's a home run, says the third base umpire.
Yeah, it will be now.
Alan Porter has called it a home run, and Weeks with his 2nd of the ball game. This one might be up for review here. We'll see. It definitely hit the top of the wall. Cespedes is saying it never hit the back wall behind the fence. So let's see if we can pick it up. It hits the top wall.
I'm not saying anything based on yesterday's situation. I have nothing to say about anything.
Yeah, that's a tough call. The basic idea here is if it hits the top of the yellow line, bounce back and hit that recessed green wall or the railing, then that's a home run. If it didn't and it stayed in the park, then it's going to be a triple. So, and I'm not sure either one of those looks is definitive enough. Yesterday we speculated that it wasn't definitive enough to overturn the call, and they easily did. And they overturned the call, and Jonathan Lucroy was awarded a triple. So the question is, does it hit the back green wall?
Well, check out the railing up here. I mean, that might be where it hits something and ricochets back into the field of play. But you know, maybe here, who knows? You see it hit the top of the yellow line and seems to go straight up. Top of the yellow line there, and really lose it, you know, in the frame. But yeah, they're going to take a look at it and make a determination. They called it a home run. Now, you know, they retrieved the baseball. Ricky Weeks stopped at third base. Then the throw from the outfield went all the way to the screen. Ricky Weeks was already told it was a home run and cruised on into home plate. But while the play was live, I guess the ball went to the screen. Nobody picked it up. So who knows where they're going to place the runner. Or at least at third base, I guess.
Well, between second and third, Ricky Weeks between second and third. The third base umpire, Alan Porter, called it a home run. He was circling the finger, which essentially at that moment stops everything down. The umpires check where the runners are. Because once you call a home run, everybody stops. The fielders stop, the runners stop. So, and that's one of the issues. This is amazing that it's come up in back-to-back games, but that's one of the challenges with replay on where to place runners. It'll be relatively easy here because there weren't multiple runners on base, but that was kind of the story yesterday with Jonathan Lucroy. You know, the way that ball caromed yesterday, with potential that he could have scored on an inside to Parker. And we'll just take another look. Umpires are down getting all the replays, which are being fed to them from New York, the central office in New York.
The question is, did it hit that railing up there? I think it bounced too high to actually hit the wall, but I don't know.
Now that wall behind the fence, the padded fence, is about 6 to 8 feet behind the wall. It's not flush with the fence.
And I guess, as we said yesterday, is there enough visual proof to, say that it wasn't a home run and it was in play? I don't know if he can do that.
Well, here comes the crew chief, Jerry Lane. He's the only one that can make the decision.
They haven't said home run. Ordinarily they come out and say home run.
And now when they come together like this, they're probably trying to figure out where to place the runner.
Right.
So they're going to take the home run off the board. And again, the ball was thrown away toward the dugout, but that was after Alan Porter had circled the finger for a home run. So, yeah, Jerry Lane.
I mean, I guess you have to ask yourself if they have a different angle as to the one or the ones that we had.
I mean, the umpires, they just have to take a guess on where the runner would have ended up.
Are they putting him at second base?
I think they're going to put him at third. As Jerry Lane held up 3 fingers to say triple. So for the second consecutive game, a called home run goes to review, and the Brewers end up with a triple out of it.
I guess basically what we have been seeing the last couple of days, it has to be proof positive that it's a home run. It doesn't matter what the call is. And not like football, right? And you call it a home run. I don't know what you saw on that replay or those replays that we had to say it wasn't a home run.
And I think that was the argument yesterday.
Right, exactly. So that's not, I guess, what they're looking at. They're saying it has to be proven that it's a home run and not back up the call that's on the field.
Well, it's a triple for Weeks. Bettencourt up there with 2 outs. Those are some tricky calls. And in yesterday's case, having looked at the replay and then seen the distance between the back wall in Philadelphia to the rail. Looked like they got the call right yesterday. And Tom Hallion, the crew chief yesterday, was very confident in the fact that that ball hit the top of the railing, and it looked like it did after we had a chance to look at it a few times. But then the question becomes, when you see the space now, Lee Tunnel, that gives you a good idea of the space that's between the wall,
that's
the fence and the wall.
That's good 10 feet.
When Bettencourt strikes out, the Brewers come up empty. And that's the way the season is going. Home runs are reviewed and called triples.
(10-2) A's, and every Friday high school and college students can purchase select tickets at special savings courtesy of Time Warner Cable. Visit brewers.com/students for information. Every Friday night.
Well, if you want to learn the basics of baseball, stay tuned. Brewers Live postgame coming your way. They'll break down the techniques and strategies of the game. In tonight's postgame instructional, we look at.
I did a segment with Tom Trebelhorn. That was back in fantasy camp.
It's nice.
Talking about giving signs, how managers give signs to coaches or players.
Kind of an art to that.
Right.
Can't just touch the nose and the ear every time. Sometimes you got to mix the chin in there.
See, if you know anything about Tom Trebelhorn, they were pretty complicated. He's a very cerebral guy, Tom Trebelhorn. You know Treb?
I don't know him at all.
Yeah.
Former Brewer skipper.
Smart guy. Good manager.
He was a winning manager for the Milwaukee Brewers.
87 was the manager for the Brewers. Team streak.
Managed the Brewers 86 to 91, and then he managed the Cubs in 94. Still has a winning record as a manager. Josh Donaldson leads off as we play in the 8th. Give us an example of a complicated Tom Trebelhorn signal. Are you talking about when you're catching, looking in?
No, I'm talking about third base.
At third base, okay.
Third base. He was a third base coach for a little bit.
I see.
There you have.
So if he wants to put a bunt on, what would be just a typical sign you'd get from the third base coach?
Well, you go, maybe go to the right shoulder. If you go to the right shoulder first, you go through a series of signs, that would be a bunt. Or you maybe go to the cap, that would be a hit and run. But sometimes, Trev will get a little bit fancy. If I go to the shoulder and then I go here and I go to the shoulder again, it's off.
And then how do you say do it again?
And then if you do it again, and it's on again.
So it's on again, but you go through it, then you hit it again. Now it's off.
And then you hit it again, it's on.
So Wow.
So you never take your eyes off Trev.
And so when he saw the panic in your eyes.
Yeah. And then you say, time out. Come over here. What am I doing?
Or he just scream out,
bunt. Bunt, yes. Which he said to me quite a bit. Doki.
I've had that one before. That was great. Josh Reddick in the air to center field. Gomez has room for the second out. Well, if you're just joining us, has not been a good night for the Brew Crew. Our game summary brought to you by Toyota. Oakland with 2 home runs, solo shots from Crisp and Moss, and that was only the beginning. Ricky Weeks has a 2-run home run tonight. The only Brewers tallies. He also has a triple. Marco Estrada had to leave the game with a leg injury. We have not gotten word yet from the Brewers clubhouse, but that was an early exit for Estrada in the 5th inning as part of a 6-run inning for the Oakland Athletics. A's added 2 in the 7th. It's 10-2. The A's have matched their hit total for the year of 18. And 3 fly ball outs. Donovan Hand eating up some innings. 10-2 our score. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
Getting ready for Brewers Live postgame. You see the early lead that Oakland had in this game, then a 6 spot as well in that 5th inning. And Davey, again, playing from behind has to take a psychological edge off of this Brewer offense.
Well, it really does. I mean, you're constantly playing from behind, just kind of drains you and just saying, oh, here we go again. And sometimes when you're facing tough pitchers, it is tough to come back. And, when you continually put yourself in a hole.
Well, pitching change going on right now here for the A's, and they got a good one out of Malone here in this contest. And injury report on Marco Estrada, left hamstring strain, and he left in that 5th inning without being able to record an out. So that's our situation right now. We're coming right back to Miller Park, bottom of the 8th. Oakland ahead.
brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. Not many to choose from tonight, but Ricky Weeks had a moment. His first home run in 3 weeks. And a 2-run shot, giving the Brewers their only runs of the game. He also has a triple tonight. Very odd pitching change for Bob Melvin. My only guess is that he wanted to get the reliever into the game, but he wasn't quite ready in a 10-2 ball game, so he takes the lefty Malone out for the left-handed reliever Hideki Okajima.
Well, you see his numbers in limited action at 338 earned run average, and that's a pretty good explanation. I guess that's a way to justify that in an 8-run lead. Ordinarily, a manager is going to do something like that when they announce a pinch hitter, and then you go with the matchup, but he goes with a lefty.
Well, Tommy Malone, I mean, he was cruising along as if he could finish this game tonight. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs for Malone, in line for his 6th victory. But in a 10-2 ball game, he'll save some innings from his starting pitcher as Martin Maldonado pinch hits. Maldonado made the last out in Philadelphia yesterday. Well, as Lucroy has gotten hot at the plate, Maldonado's playing time has been limited lately. Did not start a game in that series in Philadelphia. Hideki Okajima.
Interesting story. He pitched 5 years with the Red Sox in their organization. Then last year went back to Japan, pitched, did well, and now he's a member of the Oakland A's. So in Major League Baseball, back to Japan.
Maldonado pops it up. Sogard for the first out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club.
That's not something you see very often with the Japanese players. Come over here, go back home, and then come back. Although he did have a good season over in Japan last year, a .94 earned run average in 56 appearances. Got called up from AAA.
Yeah, he was a late sign in the spring. He didn't make the team and went to AAA. Had an opt-out in his contract of June 1st. A's called him up on the 19th. Getting some work here tonight in a 10-2 Oakland lead.
He's only pitched 3 times since May 17th. That's not very often.
Two balls and a strike. And Aoki pulls one right field line foul. Bernie's ready to slide. Just in case. Aoki's been flirting with a home run. He has 3 fly ball outs, hit one deep in the 3rd inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and he takes an emergency hack to stay alive. This is what you call taking one out of the catcher's mitt.
He does that quite a bit. You know, just to be able to stay alive and get a pitch that he can drive somewhere. Tough guy to strike out.
So 2-2 on Aoki. And Okajima deals back to the screen. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Our buddy Ishii, a Japanese reporter who covers Nori Aoki. His other player that he covers is this guy, Hideki Okajima. So his world just got a lot easier. He hasn't had to travel from Milwaukee to the West Coast very often with this matchup. A lot of the Japanese reporters, they're like scouts. They'll have a pitcher and a hitter to cover, as Aoki, a little cue shot that falls for a base hit, and his successful season against left-handed pitching continues.
And go back to that pitch where he's able to pick that ball out of the catcher's mitt, stay alive, fouled off over the third base dugout, and he got a pitch later in the at-bat. In on him again, and just right off the end of the bat, you can see the way he pulls the hands in and able to get the barrel of the bat on it, just out of the reach of Sogard at second. Tough guy to strike out. That's why he's around that 300 mark.
Here's Gene Segura. Segura looking for his first hit of the night. Came in as the league's leading hitter in the National League. Quickly making a name for himself in Major League Baseball. The Brewers Player of the Month in April, and he backed it up with a Player of the Month honor in May. That's not easy to do when you're on the same team as Ryan Braun.
Right. Not easy to do, and as young as he is, been very consistent this year. We just hope he can keep it up.
Little jam shot. One hopper to second, and the out at first for out number 2. Aoki ends up at second base. And Segura is 0 for 4, and batting average drops into the mid 340s.
He doesn't have many of those, does he?
So that'll bring up Braun. Brewers got themselves in a deep hole early. He's led 2-0 after 2 on a couple of homers, and then a 6-run 5th. It was a 7-0 hole yesterday, 8-0 tonight. And somewhere the Brewers are going to have to find some consistent starting pitching. Not the kind of baseball you want to be playing with huge deficits, not just small deficits, huge deficits early.
Right. It's been that way for a while.
I think pitchers, opposing pitchers, when they have leads like that, they go about their business differently as well. I mean, the Brewers have been able to come back. They put up a good fight in a number of these games. They did it in Minnesota. They've been down early, been able to come back, but you know, from the opposing pitcher's perspective, like Cliff Lee yesterday, he was just challenging the Brewers. I mean, just fastballs, strikes after strikes. And so they're getting their hits and they're able to come back. But when things get tight, you start to see better pitches, better pitching. So it's hard to say, you know, but, you know, if they would have held them to 6, they would have won 7-6.
Right.
You know, because every environment changes based on the score.
Pitchers, obviously, they pitch differently because when you have a big lead, you don't want to walk batters. So you're going to pitch to more of the plate. You know, hitters, when you're down by a lot, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive. You're going to try and hit some home runs, perhaps. And just the mentality of both sides changes quite a bit.
Oh, and it's no fun when you're on the losing end.
the flip side of that, the Brewers have not really been able to get off to a good start offensively much. There have been times when they've been able to do it, but it was a 6-run fifth that pretty much separated the A's from the Brewers today. And the Brewers had opportunity, to put some runs on the board and maybe have things a little bit different.
Yep. Had a base runner in the third. They had a runner in scoring position in the fourth. So you can't lay it all on the starting pitching, although starting pitching sets the tempo for every game, and they certainly have had their bumps this year. But Brewers have had the chance to turn the tables early in games offensively.
It's been a team effort, and you can't really focus too much on one area. I mean, it's obvious. The easy thing to do would be to point to starting pitching, which has been very inconsistent. But there have been times when the pitching has been good. They haven't been able to score runs.
Braun lines one off of Okajima, goes right to first, and Braun is out of the baseline. The official call.
I love that hustle from Braun, huh?
Down 10-2, and he's busting it to first, but a bad break. He hit it right on the nose. Inning is over. Brewers down in the 8th. We head to the 9th. Oakland 10, the Brewers 2. Still playing hard, down 8. Bert Badenhop trying to get out of a disaster in the 5th inning, striking out Cespedes at a merciful end to a 6-run 5th. And our head and shoulders whip tonight. John Axford is on the mound. He'll have the 9th inning. Brewers getting some good work out of Donovan Hand tonight, able to save the bullpen as much as he can. And Axford appearing for the 28th time, the former closer, now in to try to clean this one up in the 9th. Axford will face Eric Sogard to start it. Marco Estrada started this game. He had to exit in the 5th inning with a strain of the lower left hamstring. And that sounds like the DL. We don't know that for a fact, but those are injuries that you typically be very cautious with. Very similar to what we saw with Jim Henderson. By the way, I talked to Jim Henderson today. He said he's
doing well.
He's feeling good. He threw today and feels like Sunday, which is his return date, his first eligible return date, he should be back. There's Henderson, the Brewers closer. Little jam shot, and Segura will run it down for the out. As we check in with Sophia with more on Jim Henderson.
Yes, from the Brewers Infirmary. You said Jim Henderson on the field for the first time today with some light tossing. Tomorrow, more of the same. He'll do long toss, and then the plan is for him to do a full bullpen on Wednesday, hopefully to do either an inning somewhere on Friday or do live BP with some hitters. And again, the plan for him to be reinstated on Sunday. So that's some good news for Brewers fans.
That is. And Jim said he's good to go. He said he feels great. And if there was a 7-day disabled list like they have in the minor leagues, he probably would have been able to make that. As Rosales on the first pitch, pinch hitting, flies out to center.
It's kind of interesting that 2 Brewers have had hamstring issues on their pitching delivery. You don't see that very often. Henderson and Marco Estrada. A lot of times you get a hamstring, maybe covering a base or jumping off the mound trying to field a ground ball, but very rarely do you see it in the course of a delivery to home plate.
Henderson was the right hamstring, the lower hamstring. Marco Estrada is on the left.
Yeah, the right hamstring even more unusual.
Now the push-off leg. Both right-handed pitchers. Well, that'll strengthen the bullpen. It's been a bullpen that's been very good. Unfortunately, the Brewers are getting a good long look at the long relievers this year. Donovan Hand went 3 innings tonight, giving up 2 runs, 1 of them earned. 8 up some innings. 1 game leads to the next. And the 3 innings by Badenhop, or rather by Hand tonight, will afford Renicky a more rested bullpen than he would have otherwise had, with a starter going out after just 4+ innings. Axford, a 1-2 count. Coco Crisp. Slow roll into third. Got to hurry. Ramirez throw is not in time. Infield hit. Coco Crisp has a 4-hit game and on base for the 5th time tonight.
Ramirez laying back on that chopper to third base, and with Coco Crisp's speed, he's able to beat it at first base. Watch him run, just putting the bat on the baseball and busting it down that line, and got the safe call.
That is the 19th hit. That's a season high for the A's. And the 4th infield hit. That was a good call over there by Greg Gibson. $19 hits. They've scored 10 runs on those 19 hits. Coco Crisp, a triple away from the cycle today. Home run, double, 2 singles, a walk. Jaso has a couple of hits as well. Sounded like he broke his bat, and Gomez will put it away to end the inning, and we head to the bottom of the 9th. Brewers need 8 to tie. Might as well get 9. we head to the bottom of the 9th inning, been mostly Oakland tonight. Ricky Weeks had a 2-run home run in the 5th. Also had a triple. Weeks had a home run reviewed. It was overturned and called a triple. 10-2 our score. The A's have a season high for hits with 19. And the A's making a pitching change. Jesse Chavez is on to work. The former Pirate, and Scooter Gennett is going to make his major league debut here. As you see the numbers on Jesse Chavez, and the much anticipated major league debut of one of the top infield prospects in the minor leagues, Scooter Gennett. Hitting .297 at AAA Nashville, his first year in AAA.
It's a great moment for the young man, and first at bat, non-pressure at bat. This is the way you want to do it.
And swinging away at the first pitch, not a bad idea.
Get that first one out of the way. Regardless of what you do, you'll never forget it.
From Sarasota, Florida, born in Cincinnati. Said the first call he made was to his dad, Joe. Was a little chopper. Chavez will glove it and make the play for the out. So the first one is in the books. It is a ground out officially, and Scooter Gennett is a major leaguer. And we'll probably see him in the starting lineup tomorrow.
Be the last time he gets an ovation at Miller Park after making an out.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Well, here comes Jonathan Lucroy. Yeah, I'm always intrigued by major league debuts. I mean, the work that goes into getting to this point, to just be drafted and signed to be a professional, is the odds are against you enough as it is, but to make it to the major leagues.
3.5 years for Gennett in the minor leagues. That's not that long.
There's a lot of people that were involved in that process. Before the ball game today, it was a great moment down on the field. Bruce Seid, the scouting director, was with Tim McIlvaine, who was the young scout that drafted and signed Scooter Gennett in the 16th round back in the '09 draft. And for a scout to draft a guy, make a recommendation that he thinks he's a big league player, and then to see him come full circle and make it to the major leagues. And Tim just happened to be here as they're getting ready for the draft, as Lucroy sends that one deep to left center. Crisp will run it down for out number 2. Well, that was a nice moment. Scooter was about ready to take BP. He saw Tim McIlvaine. He ran over, gave him a big hug, and you imagine that you'd make it to the big leagues, and then when you go through your minor league career and you make it, that's a great satisfaction for a scout. And
yeah,
Tim's father Joe was a great scout, and he's the one who signed you.
Yeah,
the great Bill Schroeder.
Joe McIlvaine, he was in at my kitchen table back when I was growing up back in New Jersey, and inked a big contract.
Take it or leave it, son.
I was officially drafted by Walter Yaltz. He was a big scout back in the mid-Atlantic states, back in the Baltimore area, and he was kind of responsible for that at ACC, Clemson, Maryland, Virginia, those schools. But it was Joe McIlvaine that actually brought the contract to the house and sent me on my way to Butte, Montana.
Nice. All of the amateur scouts are here. They're preparing for the draft on Thursday. We got a draft special coming up for you. We'll be talking draft all week, and this should do it. And this one belongs to the A's. 10-2 the final score. First trip for Oakland into Milwaukee since 1997, and they owned the building tonight. Malone goes to 6-5. Marco Estrada the loser. A's a season high for hits with 19. As we send it out to Craig Kashawn, it's time for Brewers Live.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much. We're going to get an updated injury report on Marco Estrada. He left the game in the 5th inning. Brewers fell behind early to Oakland. They remain the hottest team in baseball. We'll tell you why. Hear from Ron Renneke and get inside the clubhouse next on Brewers Live.